the world of well-being is pretty well known. It's an area of positive psychology. Dr. Martin Seligman, I want to say he's from Ohio State, has really put together a very nice model that says here are the things that contribute to people's well-being. There's 5 elements that go into it. But it's really well-being in general. It's life in general. It's your whole life. But keeping in mind that people spend a lot of time at work, and work can have a huge impact on your well-being. We got interested in well-being at work. So we started with the work Seligman had done, and then my colleague in Australia, Dr. Martin Bolt, put together an assessment, and that was driven by a large organization in Australia. He was doing some consulting work with them, and they were trying to figure out what they were going to do, and the CEO basically looked at him and said, that's all very interesting and nice, but what I want to know is, are my people happy? And what can I do to make them happy? It's a great question. We don't know if they're happy. It's not easy to assess. And we don't know what to do to make them happy, necessarily. So Martin dove into the well-being stuff. He kind of put together a survey that taps into well-being specifically at work. Collected some data from this organization over time, and then we got involved and we wanted to look psychometrically, can we build a good assessment? And then from that, can we figure out what improves people's well-being in general, what improves people's well-being at work, and can we measure it effectively? And so that's the work that we've been doing for the last few years. We've got data now on about 11,000 people. We got data from all over the world, primarily US, Canada, Australia. But we have, people in our sample from like 130 different countries, at least one person. All of it in English. And then what we've been doing is looking at what predicts well-being. So we have this list of life things and this list of work things. We ask people, do you do this and is it effective? We then predict all these different elements of well-being from that. And we can then identify the things that seem to contribute to well-being at work, both in life, but primarily things at work. So what we found is that across types, across people, across occupations, very similar things are used to support well-being. So we did another study where we asked, different types, well, tell me more about this very simple statement. So example, it might say, one thing I do to support my well-being is spend time with others. So we said, well, tell us more about spending time with others. And not surprisingly, people who have a more ENFP preference said, well, it's pretty much anybody. I like people. And someone who had a more ISTJ preference said, well, I only spend time with certain people. So it's the people I really like and care for improves my well-being. Spending time with other people that I don't know doesn't necessarily help. So we're seeing type expected, if you will, kind of qualitative differences. And that's the work we're currently doing, is trying to sort out what are some of those qualitative differences. So that's a very high level overview of that project. We're currently trying to expand. All the data we've collected so far has been from people who are either have taken the MBTI or one of our other assessments, are a practitioner or our customer. We're trying to go beyond that kind of small niche of people. And we're looking for people. The other thing, most of our data is collected from people at, white-collarish jobs. So we're looking for organizations who are willing to just administer the assessment, get feedback on whatever level they want, the whole organization, maybe departments, divisions, whatever they're looking for. And from there, we would give them a report that says, here's your people's well-being, here's how you compare to others in similar occupations or similar countries or whatever it is they're interested in. And then we would have that data so that we can expand our database, but they would also get information about here's the well-being of your workforce, and here's from what we know about what you've told us about your workforce, some things you might do to improve it. So it would be, very much they're sharing data and information with us, but we would give them feedback back that hopefully would be useful to them. So we're looking for any organizations who might want to do that. For the next year or two, hopefully we grow our database and broaden out beyond the folks who typically buy MBTI.